Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry
Yes.
weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma is so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school, no easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running. 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who, without Mrs. B, might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
This is the reason why I do what I do, is because of Yolanda and all the...
Hello, and good evening, morning, and afternoon, because we're global. So where you're at, I just want to make sure I'm saying the right greetings to everybody. My name is Barbara J. Beckley, and I am just so excited. I'm always excited, especially every first Thursday of the month. We have what we call the Diamond Perspective Panel with wonderful, brilliant, intelligent women. And I call all women queens because we're royalty. We are royalty. Like they always say, you have to think it, believe it, affirmations, all that good stuff. Well, that's why I always say, so women be asking me, Barbara, okay, Barbara, I'm a queen again. I said, no, you're a queen, you're royalty. So I always got to jumpstart people, but that's okay. Because I think that was my mission in life, is to make sure that I always remind, especially women, who they are, what they're about, and how awesome and tremendous they are. And these women that come on every Thursday of the month and just share the stage with me, I just love it. We learn about each other's techniques, tips, our business, what we do, what we can we improve in other areas, whatever. Collaboration is the key. Collaboration kills competition, if you want to know that. It really does. If you come together as each other and bring your gifts that you have, that genius that you have in yourself, you could just blow up the world in a wonderful way. Don't you know that? But no, that's okay. You're going to learn that tonight. Just a little bit, just a tad. So I'm going to bring on the queens, but I want to show our video. We have a new video. I'm excited about it for the Diamond Perspective panel. Here it comes, and then you'll see the queens come up. Here we go. There's the queens. Good evening, ladies. I think
Hello, hello.
How you doing?
I love that video.
Yes, indeed. And I love that expression of behind every successful woman is a tribe of other women who've got her back. Perfect. I love that.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about. So that is our signature video now until I decide to do something
Fantastic.
different.
That's awesome, my dear.
That is
That's awesome.
That is
Definitely
great.
your zone of genius, Barb.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
The
I want to
babies,
say something to you about what you said about us all being queens, though. And it goes back to scripture. You know, we are kings and priests, but think about every little girl playing dress up and stuff. They're not playing the little slave, the little, you know, unless they're playing Cinderella, but you know, they're not the little people working in the fields. They're the princess. Every little girl thinks she's a princess. Every little girl wants to be a princess, and that's where they are in their head. But I think that's put in us to begin with.
I like that. That's a good point, Carol. I love that. And in fact, I'm going to use that when I start telling other people about the
Yeah, go for it.
See how
No competition here.
I always give credit where credit's due, though. I never just take some and say, "Oh, it was all me." No, it wasn't all me. I have some genius, but not every genius.
They always say there's not an original thought under the face of, on the face of the earth. It's just everything came from somebody else somewhere. So
yes.
Yep.
I keep telling
The famous preacher Oral Roberts used to say, and I think probably most people have heard of him, but he'd say, "I'll give you credit the first time. I might, if I think about it, give you credit the third time. The second time, after that, you're on your own." when he used other people's teachings and ideas. So we're in good company.
We all put our own spin on things.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I always say, don't reinvent the tire. Just take the tire and dress up the way you want. That's what I was telling you.
Right.
Do your own brain on it. So that's what I look at. So let's well, we already kind of got into it, but let's just kind of get into meeting each one of these wonderful queens. And then let's get right into our topic tonight. I'm really excited about it because it's the month of, to be obviously the month of the women, because it's Women's History Month, and then International Women's Day is coming next week. I mean, this is all women this month. I have to honestly say I feel like women rule the whole year, but that's my take on it. We'll deal with March right now. We'll deal with March right now. So let's introduce each other here. Let's go with first. Well, Carol, you start off with the queens. Why don't you just do a little quick introduction?
Okay. Well, I'm Carol Henderson, and I have Life by Design, and I help people to look better, live better, and feel better. So that, you know, everything encompassed in that.
I like that. Yeah, that's all good. Okay, Miss America Superma. She's in the building, the virtual building.
Oh. Thank you for having me, Barbara. You know, duty calls. It's crazy trying to juggle all that I do. But I am America's Supermom, Lachelle Atkins, mother of 15 children. And my platform is mental wellness. I'm all about empowering moms and women with strategies to navigate through life with a smile instead of stress. And I'm happy to be here.
And I love your version of smile. Every time I think of smile, I think about what you say about that. That's just that. Now that's a genius of its own. What you share with that. with the smile.
All to the glory of God. Okay, can't take no credit for it.
See, wait.
I lived it. Okay, lived it. Okay.
Wonderful. Okay, Mrs. Barbara Ellis, my other half, the BBs, as we always say.
Hey, yeah. Hi, I'm Barbara Ellison. I'm a midlife mentor, and I am the founder of the Wellness Playroom. And that's where wellness is not just about not being sick. So as a midlife mentor, I work with midlife people who find themselves caught in that midlife trap of like debt, declining health, and they're probably they're going to a dead-end job. So I've developed a GPS system with the help of my good friend and buddy beside me on tonight, Regina, to get people, to get them started, to provide accountability for them, and then to stay with them until they're out of the trap and they're enjoying life again.
Love it, love it, love it, lady. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, well, you said your other half over there, so Miss Regina.
Miss Regina.
It must be my turn.
Yes, it is. It looks that way.
I am Regina Partain Bergman. I am a profit acceleration business coach. I am the host of the Pursuing Profit with Principles podcast and E360 TV show on Barb's platform, Barb Beckley's platform. I'm an international best-selling author, and I've just started a new program on LinkedIn called Collaboration Conversations, and I have a co-host there, Pearl Cox from the UK. And so we have twice a week, we have shows on there. Once we interview others, and then once we interview each other and kind of have a conversation. So collaboration conversations, kind of what we do here, right?
Yes. Wow. All these shows, I'm gonna have to start getting like a Excel spreadsheet and
Yeah.
just put your names into it and just list all the shows that everybody's on. Because
I hear you.
I can't keep up anymore.
I can't either.
And a lot of them started from you. So.
Exactly. Barbara and I are doing one now. In fact, we've interviewed Regina. So.
Yeah.
We're all in the mix here. So, and I know Mary the Superman, she has one on the podcast and show. So, yeah, I definitely got to get an Excel spreadsheet and get everybody's show down so I can remember. Yeah, I can't. I'm trying to remember all my shows, and I got to add everybody else. So, but this is awesome. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. How it's so powerful that we're all out there making a difference in life and what we do, either co-host or the host of your show.
Mm-hmm.
I love the co-host part too, because it's nice to have partners like Barbara always said. Yeah. So myself, real quick, because I know Barbara's gonna get on me if I don't do this.
Exactly.
She's
getting better.
Visibility and social media strategist, and I basically help, especially women, to first of all understand what their true purpose is. Really dig deep. Just not the outside to say, okay, I'm just a mom, I'm just a wife, or I'm just a business person. No, I get deeper because I know there's a bigger purpose in what you do. Once we get that, then we gotta give you visibility. So I help them in those areas, either through my network that I have, the Diamond Factor Experience Network, or other people's networks that's on this panel. So that's the nice thing I love about that is I deal with the visibility, but I'm always looking in other areas with partners, power partners like these ladies on this panel, that we can share the wealth to get other women out there and show them who they are. Because I know Michelle does a lot of that. I mean, she's always sending me people my way. We send each other stuff, and we vice versa. So it's just like I said, collaboration really helps a great deal when you're doing what you do. So with that said, I'm going to put up a quote real quick, and then we're going to dive into our topic tonight. And I thought, I was thinking to myself, saying, it's March, it's Women's Month, it's the power of the women, as I call it. Like I said, it's every day to me, but we'll just do March. And then I was like, okay, everybody's always talking about empowerment, women empowerment, how we're empowering each other and everything. So I want to kind of talk a little bit and get your, take on that. So here's the quote one of the quotes I pulled up. The empowered woman is powerful beyond measure and beautiful beyond description. Very interesting. I mean, it's a lovely quote. It's interesting too. There's a lot of ways you can take that and kind of build from that. So I want to get your opinion. Anybody can start and see, what do you think? First of all, Farah, when you hear empowerment, What is like your take on that? And anybody can start.
I will. One of the things I think that I have really been realizing, and especially in the last year or so, I think that more and more women are realizing that they have the power. They have power over the direction that they are going to go in. And now they are beginning to exercise that power because they're, we're charting our own courses. We're going where we want, we're doing what we want to do. And it's like we are following our destiny, but realizing that destiny is what we make of it. And so I think that's why, and now because we're doing that for ourselves, we're bringing other people along with us, other women along with us.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good take. What do you think, Regina? Did you want to add to that?
Yeah, it's a powerful question, first of all.
Yeah.
It is a really powerful question, very thought-provoking. It reminded me of a conversation I had some years ago when I was doing a methodology for helping people learn more effectively, which is called brain gym or educational kinesiology. And I was wanting to work with a home study school group, a homeschooling group at the time. And I made the comment to them about empowering their children through learning these techniques to operate, more fully, more to get the brain and the body engaged and all parts of the brain engaged in the learning process. Anyway, the response they gave me to my use of the word empowerment was very negative in terms of they didn't believe that people could empower others. But I believe that if we are given the right tools, if the opportunities come in front of us and we take advantage of those opportunities, then we are empowered to do more than we could have done without those opportunities.
Right.
And so I mean, I find this very thought-provoking.
Yeah, it is. I want to add to that, and I think Carol had something real quickly that I know a lot of people when I talk to them about, empowerment, we're empowering each other, and some ladies come back to me and tell me, well, that sounds kind of, like you're trying to overtake me or you're trying to tell me what to do. I mean, they kind of go on that negative route. And that's how I feel. I'm just gonna say it sounds like, and they said the word to them, and that's kind of interesting how people hear things and they get different meanings from one word. Yeah, and exactly. they came back to me that way. So I was kind of like, oh, well, let me rethink that. Carol, I know you have something to say. Yeah.
Well, all this conversation's making me think about Barbara's in my conversation on our show last Monday. It was, I was saying, so who is your favorite, mentor, quote, stuff like that. And she mentioned Eleanor Roosevelt. I had just read an article, and I wish I had it in front of me, the name of the gentleman, but he grew up, he was Black. This was in, when Eleanor was in office, so to speak. And she was at the Tuskegee Children's Home to talk to the children and teach to the teachers and stuff like that. And she looked up and said, what is all this air traffic? She did not know anything about the Tuskegee Airmen or anything like that at this point. And so she said, I want to know more about this. Who's the top flight instructor? Well, it happened to be that the top flight instructor there was a Black man. No one would teach him how to fly or let him take lessons, so he went and bought his own plane. Then he taught himself how to fly. Then I think it was a German, Barbara may have to help me with some of this, but a German instructor that came over and helped him get qualified. And he was the first ever, I've forgotten what the title is, but it was the air carriers that did all the airmail back in the day. And he was the first one ever for that. And then he ended up being the trainer to train all the Tuskegee Airmen and ended up training many others. And Eleanor got in the plane, and she was going, I think I need to fly with you. People tell me that black people can't fly. So, and they talked that way back then. We're all of that era where we can remember, or I am. And anyway, and she said that to him. She said, I guess I'm going to have to find out for myself. And she crawled in the plane against all of her security escort. They flew for 40 minutes, and she got out with a big grin on her face. She said, well, I guess I'm going to have to tell everybody that black men can fly. Yeah. But there is an example from your quote, a woman who was empowered, but she turned around and she helped others. Now, he had to do his homework. If he never bought the plane and never learned to fly, no, this story wouldn't even exist. And the Tuskegee Airmen, which were a very valuable part of the war, would not have existed because no one wanted to train them, and so, or believe that they could train. And some of those pilots were amazing. I mean, their stories of exploit are just beyond the pale. But there's an example of a woman who was empowered, who turned and helped someone else up. And I just think it is a wonderful story. It was right on the cusp of Black History Month and Woman History Month. That's why we even brought that up on our show, was her quote, and I had read that story. So sorry to take so long telling that story.
No, this is good. But I love how you mentioned that story, Carol, because it shows, like you said, the empowerment part of the positive way how it's really done. Not so much of, okay, somebody's trying.
I mean, if she hadn't been First Lady, she would have had no say. If he hadn't done his part of getting the plane and learning, everybody had to do their part. Yeah. And she empowered him. He in turn empowered many, many others.
Yeah, so true, so true.
And the red tails are still flying. So
I love history. I just learn so much from it. You really do. You really do. Things to what to do and things what to not to do. I mean, not to like, have it come back in a bad way.
So try not to repeat the same mistakes over and over again.
Yeah. I just learn from our history, right? Learn from it.
And
that's a really important part. Yeah, that's true. But that's a really important part, is that we do have to take the time to learn from it. Right. One of the things that you had posted to us earlier was, what do we do to keep the history and the legacy moving forward? You have to know it before you can help it move forward. We all have an obligation to learn about those who've gone before. I'm really involved in family history research right now. And one of the things I'm doing is researching some of the women in our family history. And I've been invited to write a chapter in a book that's going to be celebrating the Queen Elizabeth's 70th Jubilee of 70 years that she's been in office. And each chapter will be a woman who turned 70 this year. That's me. Oh, and have a connection to England. And so I was like, okay, well, my connection comes through my first husband, whose mother was from England. And his mother and father met while his father was serving in the military during the war, and they met and married, and she came over here. But it's just, I forgot exactly what took me down that road, Barb. Sorry.
I know you're talking
that
about
might
legacy.
Be a function of being 70 this year. I don't know.
It's so funny. Well, first of all, it's just amazing. Every time Barbara says her age, you say your age, and Karen, I'm sitting there like, okay, I got to do something, because this is just incredible. It's just wonderful. I mean, you all just amaze me every time, amaze me. And then show me that I always say, okay, Barbara, you need to get yourself together. I mean, I just I push myself when I see you do what you do, But I wanted to say, and this is something that's really been really pulling at my heart a lot lately, maybe because I'm getting older too. I don't know. That, we're talking about women's history, but each person on this panel, I mean, from America Supermom to Barbara, Regina, Carol, and myself, that's why I was talking about legacy earlier. Now it's our turn
Right.
to be woman. We have women's history of ourselves for others, so they can read about us and learn from us, and be that legacy that we can leave. And I think that's really important, because we all look around, we look at the news, we look at everything that's going on. I mean, over there and with Russia and all this stuff it's just ridiculous. And I feel, I say, you know what, we can control that. And I'm thinking empowerment now. And we can empower ourselves to say, okay, let me leave a legacy. Let me be in the history books in a good, positive way to show others and show other women that's coming up behind us of what they need to do.
Agreed.
I love that. I think that it really is a good point. And I think, when I think about empowerment, when we look up the definition, it is when someone gives someone authority. And I think the thing that we have done a disservice with is waiting for other people to give us that permission. And that comes from seeking validation outside of ourselves. And I think the biggest legacy that we can live and leave to other women is to help them to recognize that they already are enough. I was just on a broadcast before this one, and we were talking about feedback. And one of the people that was watching commented that, well, let's just have the perspective of thinking that we can be a better me as a result of this person's philosophy, mindset, or belief around what they were giving you feedback about. And I think that is really something that we have grown accustomed to, is examining how we may be the problem instead of realizing that we already are enough. And why don't we focus on what matters? Are we not communicating effectively? Not communicating effectively shouldn't have anything to do with your value and your worth as a person. But the first thing we do when we have an issue is we begin to internalize and diagnose ourselves about not being enough, and always doing things wrong, or whatever this negative talk is. And I think we have to learn how to really teach other women behind us that you can have a situation that happens, but that doesn't have to mean that it labels you for being learning a lesson. We don't have any issue with teaching children, but if it's an adult that's being taught, we have this added pressure that we're supposed to know better, or whatever the case may be. So I think the biggest legacy that we can leave is for women to feel empowered to know that they are enough, and really separate their value from whatever it is that they do. Because we do too much of lumping it all together underneath a whole blanket mindset. And it really can cause a lot of problems. I just know in my own case, it was. I dealt with depression for 13 years as a result of feeling like I wasn't enough and trying to overcompensate and people please and have no boundaries and all these things.
Yes. Very well said, American Supermom. Very well
Indeed.
said. Yeah. Because I always got to remind myself, even today. I mean, I tell people, be like, Bar, I always see you smiling and all that kind of stuff and saying, woo, Queens. And I'm like, but sometimes behind closed doors, I have to remind myself that I'm a queen. I have to remind myself that I have value. I have to remind myself that I have something to say is important. Because I say to myself, I don't let the stories that happened to me, like the bullying and everything I went through, and let that sit and then stop me from moving forward to help others. Because that can be like America Supermom said, that can be that stopping point to say, okay, well, I'm not gonna do anything else because I remember somebody told me I can't speak right, or I might not have the knowledge of certain things. So you know what, maybe I need to just bag back and just forget about it and just sit here and just don't do it. And I have to keep just saying no, you don't do that. So it's like that self-talk that you have in your head sometimes. Yeah.
Well, but I think that it comes even as children. We are bombarded with images, what's good, what's bad, and especially as teenage girls, and coming out of the modeling industry, not as a model, but as an agent, to keep their heads on straight of, everybody's beautiful. Everybody has that worth. It's baked in there. The worth is there. It cannot be taken out. Now you can bury it, you cannot use it, but we are so bombarded that we think, oh well, I'm not enough. I'm not as tall or as thin or as pretty or as whatever or as smart as or as talented, or it's like it's that negative loop that plays over in the brain, and it's breaking that record is not always easy.
No, it's not. No.
And it can start very young, very young.
Yes.
I remember when my daughter was 3 or 4, and I maybe 4. I went to put her in a ballet class or something, some kind of a dance class, and they said, "Oh, she's too young," and she was just crushed. It was just like, oh, and so we made up this little song that we would sing that, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too all of these things, and just created this. I used to do that a lot with her when she was young, is we'd make up songs to help her learn life lessons or life information even. And so it helped her, though, when we would sing that song, to relate to that she was okay, and that everybody hears those words at some point, that you're to this or to that, but that she was okay, no matter what those words were.
But that's nice, because you made it fun for her. So, and I remember, using music and stuff like that really helps you, remind you of things. So I love that. Was very, that was brilliant to do that for her. Yeah. I mean, till this day, she probably like, you could just still hear it in your head.
Oh, yeah. Me too. Which just proves that what we put in there stays, and how important it is that we control what goes in there.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Especially at that young age.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, I think part of that comes down to is seeing what your vision is. And that, I think, when you have a vision, that empowers yourself, and it can empower others, because they want to join you when you have a clear-cut vision of where you're going, or what you want to accomplish in the world. And then you get all the other people that want to collaborate with you, and because they think the same way that you do. And then we get excited about the opportunities, and then we realize we're all growing, and then we're all let's change this. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger the more people that come on board with it.
Yeah.
So,
and just
and
add to
have
what
overloaded schedules with too many shows.
with the Excel spreadsheet that I have to get.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
no, I'm just going to add to Barbara what she said, and don't just get discouraged if some people are not wanting to get on what you're doing. See, sometimes that will hinder a person. They're like, well, what American Supermom don't want to be on my same train? What? No, I mean, don't get upset about it. She's doing her thing. That doesn't mean you'll never collaborate together with other things or do other things. But don't let that distract you to say, okay, this person said no. So now, maybe this whole thing is not a good idea. It's just not for them at that time. It's just the timing and everything. So,
and it always comes back to that there are 7 billion people on this planet.
You gotta find one person to run with.
If the first 3 say no, oh well, there's another 600 million other people you can talk to. So
and
there you go.
They might come back around and say, "Oh, okay, now I think you never know how, because
circumstances change.
Sometimes it's timing for people.
It's timing.
So, yeah. I mean, me and Barbara has a good example of that. I mean, we met each other through another organization that I was doing. This is when it was in person, and COVID and all that didn't even happen yet. It's been a few. Wow, it's been a lot of years.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, "Dang, Barbara, I've been knowing you for a while."
Yeah,
time marches on.
And we met, and she came to some of my monthly, like networking thing that I was doing at that time. And then I had to close it down because, like I said, things change, ideas change, brand change, everything. And then, we didn't talk for like a year or two or whatever.
Probably a year, a little over a year.
And then I just was determined because some kept telling me, because I told her before we kind of just broke away, I said, we supposed to be doing something together, either some kind of speaking thing together or something. But I just didn't know at that time what it was. But I just knew, I felt that vibe with me and her that we were going to be doing something, collaborating. And then we came back and I started doing this whole diamond thing and the diamond factor. And then she just, one day we started talking and now we got the BB show. I mean, it's like,
it's going to be 2 years. It's 2 years in June.
She always reminds me of the anniversaries.
That's awesome. Well, I remember I met Barbara through Facebook, and we were trying to do a Facebook Live. You remember that, Barbara?
Yeah.
It was when they changed the dynamics of it, so you couldn't add people anymore.
You couldn't add people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that was hysterical. It really
It was crazy. You never know. Well, before we kind of complete some of our thoughts, there's another sponsor that's coming in. They're going to talk about some inventions that women have done in the history. Here we go.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
Wow. Thank you.
I know sometimes you just, like, I keep telling people we need to go back. We learn from what history. There's a lot of women, just like when it was Black History Month, there's a lot of Black people invented different things. There's a lot of women. We have invented a lot of things that are going on right now. And sometimes we don't take the time and we just don't know sometimes. And we got to learn. We got to learn. That's why it's so important for us as women now to leave those legacies and create and show things for the women that's coming behind us. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
So true. So true.
So true. So soon as we got a few minutes here, I want to just go to the point of just asking everybody in the virtual room about empowerment again. And, you know, you can put the legacy in there if you want to talk a little bit about that. But in your own world, what do you see empowerment in your own world, or what you want to, like, you know, if you're doing now, or if you're going to, like, you know, maybe increase it a little bit, you know, after we thought about it, we talked about it a little bit, what kind of empowerment that you see in your world that you're going to be doing in your business or personal life? And I'll start with Carol.
Can I start? I've been in Regina's mastermind for years. We met at a face-to-face event, and I was speaking. She had a booth. You didn't speak that day, did you?
I did. Yes.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
You did. And so we were both speaking that day, and we kind of connected a little bit. And then it was a couple of years later, or maybe longer, that we reconnected and took some of her wonderful classes. And now I'm in the mastermind, but she's been after me all these years to do workshops and different things, and trying to get my head around what I did into that. And, you know, she kind of held my feet to the fire and said, you can't say you're semi-retired anymore, because that brain's sticking on on retired and not on the semi. So, but anyway, after all these years, and Barbara's in that mastermind also, and now we have a podcast, and we started out just us chatting, just, you know, it was just the Mavens of Motivation. That's what we are, is the Mavens of Motivation. And we started a little podcast. Well, then we wanted to interview some people. We wanted to have other people, but not all the time. So we started interviewing. And then now we're starting the Zalevo Zingers, where it's people who have had major life transformations. And we're going to be interviewing them twice a month. And now with another girl that does some things, we're doing a workshop, and that launches on the 30th. My book is live, and it is released on Mondays. Yeah, they've
come a long way.
Yeah. Well, I had a brick and mortar, and I had shut it down and was just sitting on my porch looking at the lake and kind of enjoying life. But, you know, I'm more social than that. So you can only talk to the chickens for so long.
So you got a lot of empowerment going on within your world, Miss Joe. I mean,
Yes,
got a lot of stuff going
yes,
on.
yeah.
We're
They've really
collaborating
been
with
pouring
others.
into me. So
Yeah, awesome. So
I
Miss
love the Zalevo zingers. I
Zinkers.
love
pardon?
that. I
Those
love the
flavors.
Zalevo zingers. That's awesome.
Well, go look at the picture. Janie is going to be our first. Janie Sunshine is her name, and she's going to be our first interview. And go look. I mean, when she said, "I can see my eyes," it makes you realize how they just pop now. And when we met her, she was in a very bad relationship. She was able to get out of that, lost, I don't know how much weight she's lost, gotten her head on straight. It's just a wonderful story, and I can't wait to hear all about it.
Awesome.
Wow. So I want to go to Miss America Supermom regarding empowerment in your life and moving forward in legacy. Just give us a little bit for you.
Well, I think that's a great question. And I think, it starts with, how intentional we can be with a lot of these phrases and beliefs, and this is really something that I practice every day because I still have 10 kids at home. So, I have to be mindful of, how I can empower them I think the first thing is really taking accountability for how you choose to show up. I think that's the basis of everything because, it's important to be confident and really being able to fully embrace who you are. And for years, I didn't have that confidence. It was attached to, me doing a job well done and the validation of other people rather than the comfort and confidence and just being me. I was on this roller coaster of wearing masks for every different occasion, and not really being able to recognize myself in the mirror. So I think, it really is a practice that, I do every day with my kids and allowing them to see the consistency of who I am and how I show up. It doesn't mean that I do everything right, doesn't mean that I don't make mistakes, but really showing them how life happens, and the different things that, we have to do to navigate through that, so it's not some fairy tale mindset of believing that everything's going to always be perfect and, you have to, put on the front and all these things. I think the best lesson I learned was through a podcast that I listened to early in my uh, career with coaching. And the gentleman said that a lot of times when you're good at what you do, people will put you on a pedestal. However, you can choose not to stay there. And I think that's what happens with a lot of us. We get excited about the knowledge and information that we have and the expertise, but it causes a separation from us and the people that we do business with. But if we learn to realize that, a talent or expertise doesn't make us any better than the persons that we may be doing business with, but that's just something we're gifted at or we're choosing to really study and be good at. Because, I can say I can feel comfortable on camera, but you can come in my house and my kitchen is a mess, okay? Or something else. Just because you're good in one area, it doesn't have to have the pressure that you have to be perfect in all things. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I always have to remind myself, don't beat yourself up, Barbara. I mean, you did what you do what you need to do. It's good right now, and you keep on moving. I have to keep pushing myself in that area. So thank you for that reminder and the empowerment that you're doing. So, Miss Barbara.
I think for me, one of the things that I am trying to embrace is to do something every day that kind of scares me a little bit or that I don't know how to do. Because the more that I push myself little bits, and I mean, but some days, one day I called Carol and I just said, it was like, I couldn't get something to work and I was just a basket case. And I just said, the gremlins are after me because I can't get this. And yet, after I really thought about it for a while, it was like, okay, Barbara, just calm down or go to bed, take a nap, whatever it is you have to do, and then come back to it. And I think when we can embrace that, we can really give other people the opportunity to make mistakes, to not know how to do something. Just what Lachelle just said, that they don't have to be perfect at everything. If there's something that you really want to learn, then learn it. But if there's something that you have no interest in learning, let it go and let somebody else do it for you.
Yeah.
So,
Amen.
I'm like, let somebody else. If you don't ever want to learn, you should know how. Like just the basic overview of stuff in your business. But I don't think we spend so much time trying to be being good at, perfect at everything, that we lose sight of the fact that of the things that we are good at, that we can help others. And that by doing the things that we're not good at, we're robbing the people of hearing about what we are good at.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's it. As we grow into just be yourself, be authentic, be who you are, and share your gift, we're going to change the world.
I like that. Delegation is a friend. I always tell people delegating can be your friend.
Absolutely.
So you can really go on your genius even more. You can be more time on that than trying to figure out, okay, what appointment does a person have, and how I got to send this email to this person. No, it's called virtual assistant. So with that, I think we all learned that, right? I know I've learned it more than once.
Exactly.
Right? Bing, bing, bing.
Do what's your strength and pass the rest off to someone who has that strength.
Right.
And that time. Yeah.
And that time. Absolutely.
Somebody that plays at something that you struggle with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're out there.
They're out there. Yeah. So, Miss Regina, since we're at you, lady, what is your take?
Well, from a personal empowerment standpoint, this year I'm stepping out in a few ways that I haven't done before. Playing a bigger game in my business, I guess might be a way to put that. But from a standpoint of legacy, I think one of the exciting things that I did this past year was to create a group of business superheroes. Barb Ellison is in that group of the ladies that are here. And we met every week. We now meet every couple of weeks, but we were on a journey that, like I said, we're at about a year on that, aren't we, Barb? Yeah. Somewhere close to it. And it has been a phenomenal experience to share this journey with these. We started out of about 10 people. I think we're at 8 now. And we have supported one another. We talk about collaboration. I mean, this is the most amazing collaborative group that I think I've ever been a part of. And each person was handpicked in the group because of their skill sets. And every skill set complements another. So, I had this circular diagram and all of the skill sets that I wanted. And I went out and found the people that had those skill sets that created a package of skills that we could offer to any employer, any company, that these were all skills that they could use to grow their business, so that we could look for ways that we could all work together on projects, or we could partner onesies, twosies kinds of things. A couple of people, 2 or 3 people partnering together on a project, whatever was available. And we're putting out a book. We're in the process of finishing up a book where we've each written a chapter in that book. But the fun thing is that I'm now at the place where I'm ready to start duplicating that process. So it's not just the 8 of us, but we'll create multiple groups and invite those people in. And it'll be a 6-month program that people will get to benefit from. And I am so excited about working on that and getting that rolling, along with the playing bigger in terms of my client base, and what I'm doing with clients. So yeah, it's I love the idea of creating this opportunity for people to collaborate to grow their business, and that means they make an impact in the world. That you've all heard me say, for me, it's all about the ripple effect, right? If I help someone and they go out and help someone else, now we've got a ripple going, and I get to be a part of it. Yes, Barb, yes.
I like
And
that.
so I love the ripple. That's why I do what I do, is because I get to be a part of the ripple effect that everyone else creates, that I get to help them create that. That's why I do what I do.
I don't mind being on a ripple. Hey, if it's a positive and like-minded women like you, like all of you, I'll be a ripple. I'll be on a ripple.
There you go. I love it.
I see the word picture I got when Regina was talking is like she had a handful of little pebbles and she just threw them out on a flat lake and they all rippled.
Yeah. Love that. I love that.
And I think that's what you've done this year.
So I'm gonna share for me, Flower Empowerment. I just want to remind people, and I just want to share this quote. This is a quote. It's about queens, and basically it says, and it's kind of you can't really see it, so I have to read it out. Think like a queen. A queen is not afraid to fail. Failure is another stepping stone to greatness. Now this was from Oprah. That was her quote. And I say that because never be afraid to fail, because you're learning and growing from it. And instead of beating yourself up for it. So it's all about the mind shift. You know, I don't want to say set no more. I don't like mindset no more. Me and Barbara has agreed with that lately. Because it's like when you say set, it's like, okay, it feels like you're still setting that way. But if you say you're shifting, you're moving, you're flowing, that's you're opening yourself up to other things, even though maybe you failed. And I even hate to use, now let's say this, I hate to even use the word fail, because you're learning. You know,
it's just a learning experience. Yeah.
And if you think of it that way, instead of thinking in a negative way, then that's when you grow and you just out there like that ripple effect, like Regina was saying. Instead of sitting there saying, oh darn, I messed up again, I'm so stupid. See, that is not good. That's like the no. Okay, you know how you have example. This is not what you're supposed to do. This is what you should do. Never say that. Never say that. Just say, I just learned from this. Thank you so much. Now there's another experience that I learned to grow and move forward. And you just go for it. You just go for it and put a smile.
Couple of months ago, I heard a definition of the word fail. And it's like, I fail all the time. It's my first attempt in learning.
I like that.
I thought, that's absolutely the truth. Your first attempt in learning. You haven't failed. You just had a first attempt in learning something.
Love that.
Yeah, love
it. It just really, it was like, oh, exactly right. It's reframing.
Reframing. That's all it's about. So thank you, ladies. I know what the time, but I really appreciate you every month coming on to have these wonderful discussions. I mean, I learned so much. In fact, I always look at us over and over again, like, on the replays and everything, because I just learned so much from you. So, and saying that, I would, all the audience out there, if you haven't seen it, this is always going to be playing as a replay. Come, watch it. And the ladies are going to tell you how you can reach them. And then we're going to just do a close. So let's start with America's Supermom. How can they contact you, lady?
Well, I just want to say thank you again. This has been a great conversation, and you learn so much when you hear the perspectives of other people, and you make space for that. So I really appreciate you setting this up, Barbara. But I am on a lot of social media platforms, so you can Google me or you can reach me on pretty much anything. I'm everywhere because I'm all about really making a difference when it comes to our mental wellness, and any way that I could share that message, whether it's a podcast or a TV show, whatever, I'm all about spreading that message. So again, I'm just just elated to be here and looking forward to next month and its topic.
Yay. Okay, Miss Barbara, how can they reach you, lady?
Yeah, I'm Barbara Ellison on LinkedIn. You can reach me, Barbara Ellison, Midlife Mentor. On Facebook, I'm Barbara Lunan Ellison because of just being, I was in name jail. So that was, but I'm out of name jail. So not going to go back, not going to go back. Won't do that again. So yeah, absolutely. That's the best way to get, and on Facebook Messenger, just messenger me.
Yeah, she does. She does get back to you.
Yeah,
I'm an example of that. She does get back to you. Yeah. So, Miss Regina?
Yes, on LinkedIn, I'm Regina Partain Bergman. That's probably the best way to reach me on LinkedIn. Regina Partain, that's Partain, Bergman, Bergman.
Okay. And then Miss Carol.
Well, I'm Carol Henderson, and you can find me at Carol Henderson Life by Design on Facebook, and also Mavens of Motivation at Barbara and Carol, and that's our other Facebook name. So that's probably the best way to find me. I'm not real good at answering unrequested messengers. I've had a lot of gentlemen in the UK and other places. They're always generals, and
and they always work in offshore drilling.
Yes.
No,
Okay, that sounds like another show. That's like another show.
Mine are all military, and finally,
they're
I
military.
had a woman military in the UK. Come try to.
So yeah, so just to let everybody know, if you missed any of the other contacts that they said, you can contact me, and then I have all their contacts, and then I'll make sure you can contact. And it won't be anybody from like the UK. I want to get with you.
and the funny thing is, it's like they must have their own script, because they all say the same thing. Oh yeah, and it's like, oh brother, another troll.
Yes, exactly.
The trolls are out there.
They are indeed.
And just to let everybody know, to get to me, just www.barbara.beckley.com. That's my website, and you can hit me on there, contact me through there to make it easier for everybody. And I just want to thank everybody again, the wonderful queens on this panel, and all the women out there that are listening to us. I mean, I know the men are too, but this is our month, so we're gonna own it. We're gonna own it. And just be who you always are. Be that queen that you are. Be that royalty that you are, that you always say, because when you say something, you put out to the universe, believe me, the universe hears you, and you will get it right back to you in a wonderful, wonderful ways in your own life, personal and business. So with that, ladies, we will see you next month, April.
Thank you, Barb.
Thank you.
Thanks, Barb.